Don't let this person guilt trip you back into a situation that you can't even fit in that room. You are a butterfly now. A lot of you could be at a phase where, you know how we always talk about you got the caterpillar and you got the butterfly, but we never talk about like how does it get from the caterpillar to the butterfly exactly? Does it just like do a twirl, magical twirl, and it's like butterfly? No, what actually happens is when the caterpillar is in the cocoon, it goes in a stage where everything from the caterpillar DNA just melts like into this primordial soup that doesn't really have any true form. Then from that primordial soup, it gets reorganized into the makings and the structure and the DNA of a butterfly. You could be in that stage where you're the primordial soup. You're not the caterpillar for sure, but it's like that space between when you're not only a butterfly, but you're clear about it and you know how to fly. But as a side note, for those of you who are that way, or that's where you're at in your life, we have an event coming up September 1st through the 8th called the ESTHER Awakening. All the links are below. We'll talk about it again more later. But again, those of you who you've transformed in a significant way, there's something or someone that you either just left or walked away from, or if you haven't already, you're going to be led to really choose, make a very important decision. And at the end of the day, this decision is going to boil down to, do you sacrifice not only your own purpose, which is major, but your own happiness and feelings? Or do you choose yourself for the first time? Or have you chosen yourself for the first time? You've chosen yourself, you stood your ground. Don't bend, no compromise. Don't bend, don't adjust. You stick your rules in the ground, and that's it. For some of you, if there are certain boundaries that you've been made to lay with certain people or certain relationships that are close to you, continue to keep that stake in the ground. Do not be moved, not even for a second. Don't be moved. Don't compromise. Okay. For instance, even if there are certain things, like let's say you have a certain plan, or you're like, I'm going to lay these boundaries with this person. Then they call you and they're like, yeah, well, I just wanted to do this real quick. I know such and such. It's like, no, I can't. This is that. We either do this, or if we do that, we do that this day at this time. I'll let you know. Stand your ground. And that's just a little tiny example, but this could be for whatever. Don't budge is what I'm hearing the Most High say. Don't let a crack open, because right now, for those of you who chose yourself, you don't understand what you've done has flipped the kingdom that has been against you on its head. On its head. When you stand in your power, your authority, your clarity and discernment of what the Holy Spirit has blessed you with, this is when you become truly dangerous, because now you can't be easily manipulated and pulled here or there by other people's agendas. You're going to see that when you really stand your ground against a person, you're going to end up seeing a completely different side of this person. Some of you are going to see a person literally deconstruct before you. And I don't mean that in a negative way or wishing these on people or anything like that. But what I mean is you're going to be shocked. When you stand your ground, like some of you could be thinking that you're dealing with a person that's going to, let's say if you tell them no, or you lay a certain boundary, you might think like, oh, they're going to cut me off. They're not going to deal with me, or they're not going to put up with that. This person is such and such like this. You're going to be shocked as you stand your ground, because you can't even help but to do it. You're a butterfly now. Not through the mind, but you really just can't help. You've literally transformed. For those of you who are on that side of the transformation, you're going to see a completely different side of this person. It's going to shock you. And I'm going to be honest, for some of you, it could be a friendship or a romantic situation, or even friendly, family, it doesn't matter. But this person that's going to really reveal themselves that you're going to be able to see, when you see that, you're not even going to really see the person the same way. You're going to realize that person never was really who you thought that they were, and it was a facade all along. It's giving Mulan. It's making me think of Mulan when he came out in the shadow before she saw what he actually was. He looked like this big dragon thing. He's like, I'm Mushu, I do this. He's blowing fire looking like a dragon. And then he comes out and he's this little lizard. Some of you are dealing with a person that they got like this big energy. Like, no, I'm like this. Some of y'all dealing with somebody who's very stubborn, very emperorish, very rigid is the word. Like, if this is for you, that word probably also describes that person. And you're going to see that when it's no longer up for discussion, and you're not falling for the tricks, the gaslighting, the breadcrumbing, the lack of accountability or any of these things, you're going to see a different side of this person. You're going to see what this person is actually made of. And the funniest thing about it is, let's say you saw this person in the past as a potential business partner, potential spouse, a potential whatever. You're not going to have that same perspective of that person. Even if you're like, okay, we can have some form of relationship, it's not going to be the type of relationship that y'all initially started off with, because again, that person had a facade. Is you standing what you stand on, and it's non-negotiable because your mind is made up and you're not a double-minded man and stable in all his ways? You're going to see somebody fold, but again, they're going to also continue to try. Stand your ground. Be willing to let whatever go that's not meant for you. One thing in life that you'll learn over time is whatever's meant to be is meant to be. People say that. I've said that. When you truly have that awareness and that understanding and epiphany, you can't go back from that. You can try to force a thing. Some of you have tried to force things and it still fell apart. Some of you have people in your life try to force things on you, try to manipulate you, and it still fell apart because it wasn't part of the plan. They could try, they could do all the tricks, but God has the last say so at the end of the day. This is for any and every situation, especially for chosen ones. Things always end up working out for us at the end of the day. You have to stand your ground. Whatever's for you is for you. Be willing to let it all go. Think about Abraham. Channel that inner strength, which y'all have. It's just continue to stand on that. But think about Abraham. He prayed and prayed and prayed. Him and Sarah, they wanted a kid. That's the only promise they wanted. A son. Then they finally got it after all these years, after trying to do it their own way, creating extra obstacles that didn't need to be had with the lady that they let lay with Abraham to bring a son when it was really supposed to that not even ever happen. It was just supposed to be Abram and Sarah do their thing. He finally got Isaac, which was their son. God's like, go sacrifice Isaac. Do you know how that hurt Abraham? Think about that. People read biblical stories, but do you really sit with that? Do you understand that the same thing that the Bible was talking about all these years ago, these are the same things that happen today? That's why those are one of the best books in the world, because anything that you can go through, there's a situation for that in there. When you are reading, put yourself in their shoes. Don't treat it like it's just ancient history. These people are old. This is other past. No, this is very present. It's very alive now. Think about how Abraham felt when he was told he had to sacrifice his son. After all the time, after all the years, after all the praying, and then after actually having a son, having that relationship, and he was told he was going to have to sacrifice his son on the altar. And what did he do? Begrudgingly, he went and he was just going to do it. Stay obedient to that. And as soon as he went to make that sacrifice, of course, we know he didn't have to end up sacrificing Isaac for real, but that shows the level of dedication and how willing we need to be to cut anything off that interferes with purpose, especially as chosen ones. If this resonates with you, we also have an event coming up called the ESTHER Awakening. This is about consecration. This is about aligning yourself with purpose, being clear about what you've been called to do, being able to consecrate yourself to get rid of all the noise and distractions from all the people, the programs, and the energies that have come into your life. Some of you are dealing with situations where you're in relationships where you're dealing with counterfeit relationships, counterfeit friendships. It doesn't just have to be romantic, counterfeit business partnerships or things that you're entangled with. This consecration is to get you to focus in alignment so that anything that's not in alignment with the purpose of God over your life, post this transformation season, you're able to easily not only let it fall away, but be able to clearly see by the end of this 7-day consecration process that it just doesn't fit. All of you who are listening to this, again, you have a situation where they're going to try and pull every trick to get you to fold on your boundaries, but you walked away from something you chose yourself. Continue to do that. Continue to stand your ground. You're going to see a side of a person that if you knew that person to be that way from the beginning, y'all would have never even probably got to know each other that much in the first place. All of my links are below. Let me know where my Esther's at. Let me know if y'all ready to step into real purpose. Let me know if y'all really ready to step into the breakthrough because you've broken through. Again, I have a video about that as well that we just posted. We have a new series coming out where we're going to be talking about what happens after breakthrough, because the process isn't what we think the Disney fantasy story. After you break through, you that primordial soup for a little bit, that caterpillar before it turns into a butterfly, and that could feel like, wait, what's going on? I did all of this just to get nowhere, just to feel nothing, just to not know what to do, not to know who I am or what's next. Beautiful time period. This is where you have all the potential energy, everything that you need. And the consecration, the Esther Awakening, this is about the refinement. So yes, it's going to be spiritual things involved, consecration, certain things that the Most High is going to give me and has already given me to speak. But then y'all know how we also do the work. So there are going to be certain things where we're really working through things to make sure that you're fully able to come into that clarity for yourself. One thing that I realized, even as I've been doing events over 2025 or Takeover 2025, Masterclass, MMM Bootcamp, Power Week, I'm very holistic over there. Anybody who's been part of Pretty Boss TV knows that. So there are certain things that you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't have that alignment and you don't have that clarity, you're not going to be able to implement them. So this is one of those things where now we're making sure we got all those ducks in a row too, in terms of that inner work. Because some of you have the cognitive things, you know what to do. And especially any of you who taken any one of my events, you have significant tools to use and to succeed with. So if there's still some blockage, it could be something that it's not about what you don't know or any of those things in terms of what to physically do, but it's about that clarity and alignment, being able to really consecrate yourself so that you can see clearly. All of my links are below, prettybossTV.com. I love you all so very much. Stay blessed. Always stay in your purpose. You were chosen for a time such as this, baby. Talk to y'all soon, y'all willing. Peace.